Hi everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Recent Things. Today I'm doing something a little bit different and I'm going to be creating this 3D beach sign using the Dollar Tree Shoreline Living line. Have you seen it yet at the Dollar Tree? It's amazing. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you how I created this. What started it all was these wooden blocks that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I didn't know what to do with them. I first saw them and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick them up. So I picked up six. So I have in total six of those wooden blocks. And then Shore Living at the Dollar Tree had this beach sign and it was wood. And I thought, you know what? Let's just pick this up as well. There was some nautical rope from the same Shoreline Living. And then a slew of these wooden anchor ornaments and some of these starfish. So they're made out of it. It feels like a dry clay or something like that, but I just loved these. And of course, I have all of these paints here that I'm using today. They're just acrylic paints, a couple of blues, a tan, and a white. And this is pretty much everything that I'm going to use for today's 3D project. Now, these little squares are about 2¼ 2¼ and 2¼ so they're roughly square. They're as square as they're going to get, I guess, for the Dollar Tree. And in total, it's about 13 inches long once you get everything together. And there I was just making sure the sign would fit on top. And then I'm just kind of deciding if I wanted to do like a straight line or make it jagged. And the idea that I had in my head, I was like, you know what, let's make it jagged. So one block I have out, then I put one block in, and then you can see here I'm just hot gluing everything together with a good amount of hot glue, holding it in place for a little bit, and then moving to my next one. So again, there was no real plan. I just kind of winged it here. This was just kind of a test to see how it all turns out. And I will admit, I was so happy with the results. After I glued it all together, I test out my beach sign to see how it goes, if it's perfect. And then I'm just going to take more hot glue on those bumps at the bottom to adhere them to the wooden blocks and let that all completely dry. Once it is all dry, I am just going to place that to the side. I'm going to grab some white acrylic paint, and this is just pure white, and then some wax paper as well, just to protect my surface. And the first thing I'm going to do is give it an all around good coating of a primer. So I'm just going to use white as my primer, just so that when I go to paint my blues and creams on there, that it does pop. So if we have a good base coat and a good primer with white, those colors that you lay on top are going to pop a lot more than if you did the colors right on top of the wood. So I wanted to give it a good coat of prime all the way around, front, back, top, and bottom. And once that's all dry, then it's time to have some fun and experiment with this. The idea that I had for this was to recreate like a beach with some sand and some ocean. So in my little ramekin here, I have a whole bunch of baking powder. And you just get it out of the fridge if you want. And then I have this cashmere tan that's from the Dollar Tree as well. It's just acrylic paint. And I'm going to put a whole blob of that down on my wax paper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that baking powder and I'm just going to add more paint and then I'm going to mix everything together with my paintbrush. Now, what I will say about this, when you use the paintbrush, I would use like a Dollar Tree or an inexpensive paintbrush. I wouldn't use your expensive paintbrushes to do this, just in case. Mine came out totally clean. It's a synthetic paintbrush. And then once I washed it, it totally came out clean. But I probably would use an inexpensive paintbrush. The consistency you're looking for is like a pancake mix. I guess you could say a clumpy pancake mix. Let's put it that way. The effect that I'm going for here is a sandy look. So I want it, the color was perfect for me. Again, it's that cashmere tan that I'm using mixed with the baking soda And then what you want to do is you want to create little lumps and bumps. I mean, the texture is already going to be there, but for me, I clumped everything on. And you'll see in a little bit that it does, once you start layering, that it does clump up. So you'll see here, I'm just kind of putting it on haphazardly, and I'm using a lot of the paint on there and layering it up. And you can see now it's starting to show that really beautiful texture that I wanted. You can see here that great texture, kind of that represents sand, really. That is what we are going for. And once that's all done, there's all my beautiful textured paint. I'm just going to add a little bit more, and then I'm just going to let everything dry. And I do add some at the bottom of that beach sign as well. So the sand looks like it's kind of coming up. There we go. My sand is all dry, and I am loving how this turned out at the base. It was exactly what I had pictured in my mind. And now to finish off my ocean effect, I'm going to be using a dark blue, a lighter blue, and a white. And what I'm going to be doing is the top portion of the letters. So like the top third, I'm going to use the dark blue. Then the middle portion, I'm going to use the light blue. And at the bottom where we meet the sand, I'm going to use the white. And that'll be kind of the foam from the ocean that spills up and that we see. So here I am, I'm just applying that dark blue to the top, and I am getting in between those crevices as well. I'm going to come down and mix in and do like an ombre effect of that lighter blue color. And you can see I'm just kind of applying it, mixing it, blending it. I'm going to take another paintbrush now, and I'm going to use this paintbrush for my darker color and blend that in with the other paintbrush with the lighter color. And the more you do, the more it will blend. So right now I'm just kind of in the beginning phases, and I'm going to take my third paintbrush and I'm going to add clumps of the white acrylic so it looks again like we have texture there with the foam. So I have a paintbrush for each one of my colors. You can kind of see where we're going with it here. And then all I'm going to do with the rest of them is I'm just going to play around with each paintbrush and each color and do all of the blending. And then when I come to the white, I blend that in as well. And I make sure we have a nice thick amount on there to create some texture. And then once I have the texture that I like, I start blending it into that lighter blue color. So now it looks like the ocean is coming up on the beach with our 3D beach sign, which is a good thing. And then I just fill in all the other areas in the little cutouts where the letters are, just to finish everything off. Some final touches, and then I'm going to completely let that dry. I made these anchors, but unfortunately, you can see in the top left-hand corner, the lighting was not good with these. All I did was I painted them silver, and then I just dry brushed some black on there, and then wrapped some twine around, and those were done. Then I'm going to also take these little starfish and glue them on. So I'm just figuring out placement right now, kind of moving it all around, and you can see it's not glued down. Usually when I place items, I don't glue anything down until I know exactly where they want to go. And once I'm happy with the placement, that's when I start gluing everything with my hot glue gun. And of course, this is the fun part. You get to decorate it, any way you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You can add as much or as little as you want. But I just loved how the little starfish and the little anchors added a little bit of je ne sais quoi to this. So here you go. We have our 3D beach sign from the Shoreline Living line at the Dollar Tree. I just love how this turned out with our sand and our ocean, and I hope you did as well. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. Thanks again. Take care. Bye for now.